Zach, I need to know right now, are you a millennial or are you secretly aging into a dad joke account?
Excuse me? I am a proud, fully functioning millennial, thank you very much.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Conversation Point. Today we're doing the Millennial versus Gen Z slang battle and figuring out who actually sounds old.
Spoiler, Maya, it's probably going to be me.
I didn't say it, you said it.
Let's start with a little history, though, because our slang literally came from different worlds.
Right. Millennial slang basically formed on AIM away messages, MySpace profiles, early Twitter. Text-based, slower, marinating for years.
Which is honestly why terms like on fleek, totes, and epic fail feel so tied to a specific era now.
Say totes one more time, Zach. I dare you.
Totes. There, said it. No regrets.
Gen Z slang moves completely differently, though. It's TikTok speed now, not years, weeks.
A term can go from a random niche joke to a global catchphrase in about 7 days flat.
7 days? Our slang took actual years to catch on.
Which is honestly wild when you think about it. Completely different speed of culture.
And apparently some Gen Z terms are already dying by the time we're recording this. No cap is reportedly already getting old.
It hasn't even had time to get a midlife crisis yet.
Meanwhile, totes has survived like a cockroach.
A very uncool, very persistent cockroach.
Quick one for everyone watching. Are you team millennial or team Gen Z slang? Drop your generation and your favorite word below before we get into testing each other. All right, quiz time. I'm going to test you on actual current Gen Z slang, and we'll see how badly this goes.
I've accepted my fate already. Go ahead.
What does Delulu mean?
Something about being deluded. Delusional, maybe.
Actually correct. Delusional, usually in a self-aware, joking way.
I have my moments, Maya.
Okay, next one. What does glazing mean?
Glazing, like a donut?
Not quite. It means excessively praising or complimenting someone, almost too much.
I would have genuinely thought that was a baking term for the rest of my life.
One more. What does standing on business mean?
Oh, I actually know this one. Following through on what you said, being serious about it?
Correct again. You're doing better than I expected, honestly.
Watch, my turn is going to be a disaster for you.
We'll see. Go ahead. Quiz me on millennial slang.
What does on fleek mean?
Easy. That's when something looks perfect, especially eyebrows originally.
Correct. All right, what does shipping mean?
Shipping, supporting a romantic pairing, usually between fictional characters or celebrities.
Also correct. You're representing millennials well so far.
We invented half the internet's emotional vocabulary, Zach. Respect it.
Duly noted and respected.
One more for you, though. What does 6'7" mean as actual current Gen Z slang?
I genuinely have no idea what that even means as a phrase.
Neither did I until we researched this episode, honestly. It's become this weirdly popular nonsense phrase kids say for no clear reason at all.
So even the current slang admits some of it doesn't need to mean anything.
Apparently, everything doesn't need a definition anymore. Test yourselves, too. Did you know Delulu, Glazing, or 6'7" before this video? Comment your score. We want to see who's actually keeping up.
And if you're enjoying watching us fumble through generational vocabulary, that's basically our whole brand at Conversation Point. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't yet.
All right, real debate time. Whose slang era was actually more creative? Millennials or Gen Z?
Gen Z, honestly, no contest. The wordplay and randomness is genuinely more inventive.
I completely disagree, Zach. Millennial slang built entire phrases with actual grammar and structure. Epic fail tells a whole story in 2 words.
6'7" tells 0 story and somehow still works for an entire generation.
That's not creativity. That's just chaos with good marketing.
Chaos is a form of creativity, Maya. It's unpredictable, which takes a different kind of cultural confidence.
Okay, that's actually a decent point. I hadn't thought about randomness itself as the creative choice.
See, I contain layers.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
I will say, millennial slang does have better staying power, though. People still say on fleek, ironically, and totes apparently refuses to die.
Agreed. Longevity might actually be worth more than speed, honestly. Anyone can create something that trends for a week.
Making something last for over a decade is genuinely a different achievement.
So maybe millennials win on staying power, Gen Z wins on sheer volume and speed.
Considering, I could actually agree with that split. Different strengths, not a clean winner either way.
Look at us landing on nuance again, barely 5 minutes into a new topic.
It's basically become our whole identity as hosts at this point.
To the audience, so what's your take? Is Gen Z's rapid, chaotic slang more creative, or does millennial slang staying power actually win the long game? We want your honest vote in the comments.
And next, we're getting into some genuinely wild meaning changes across generations, so stick around for that. It gets pretty funny.
All right, Zach, let's get into words that completely changed meaning across generations, because this genuinely trips people up.
Take literally. It used to mean, well, literally. Now it's basically just an intensifier.
I literally died doesn't mean anyone actually died. It just means something was funny or dramatic.
Grammatically, that word has completely betrayed its own definition at this point.
Basic is another good one. It used to just mean simple or plain. Now it's this whole cultural judgment.
Calling someone basic is a whole personality assessment now, not just a description.
Pumpkin spice everything, Uggs, and a slightly judgmental group chat conversation all packed into one word.
And slay is probably the wildest shift. Used to just mean literally killing something.
Now it means someone did something impressively well, usually with an outfit or a performance.
She slayed that presentation would have made 0 sense a decade ago.
It would have sounded like an actual crime report.
Slang meaning drift is honestly one of the funniest parts of language evolving this fast.
It's not even just Gen Z doing this either. Millennials did the exact same thing with words before them.
Right. Sick used to just mean ill, then it became a compliment for millennials, too.
So really, every generation's been quietly ruining perfectly good words for decades.
A proud, ongoing tradition of linguistic chaos.
To audience, what's a word you notice completely flip meaning in your own lifetime? Tell us the word and what it used to mean before slang got its hands on it.
Let's actually talk about where a lot of this slang genuinely comes from, because it's not as random as people assume.
What do you mean specifically?
A huge amount of Gen Z slang draws directly from African American vernacular English. Words like bussin', no cap, and finna all have roots there.
That actually makes a lot of sense once you trace it. A lot of this language existed long before it went mainstream online.
A huge amount comes from gaming culture, too. Terms like sus came straight out of games like Among Us before spreading everywhere.
Among Us basically gave the entire internet a new vocabulary word overnight.
Genuinely one of the fastest slang adoptions in recent memory.
And drag culture, too, right? I feel like shade, slay, and reading all came from there originally.
Exactly. Drag and ballroom culture have been shaping mainstream slang for a long time, often without people realizing the origin.
That's actually a really interesting layer most people probably never think about while texting no cap to their friends.
Right. Slang feels random on the surface, but it's usually got a real cultural lineage underneath it.
Millennial slang had its own borrowing too, honestly. A lot came from hip-hop culture, skate and surf communities, and early internet forums.
So both generations built their language on top of existing subcultures, just different ones depending on the era.
We didn't invent our vocabulary out of nowhere either, Zach. We just repackaged it with better hair and worse phone cameras.
A completely accurate summary of the entire 2000s.
It does raise a real question, though. Where's the line between borrowing culture naturally and actually taking credit for something that wasn't originally yours?
That's honestly a legitimate concern, especially when mainstream media picks up a term without ever mentioning where it came from.
Which feels like a good setup for an actual real debate, not just fun trivia.
Perfect timing, because that's exactly where we're headed next.
Did you already know where some of these terms actually originated, or did it surprise you like it surprised us researching this? Let us know which one caught you off guard.
And if you're the kind of person who likes digging into the actual history behind trends instead of just using them, that's exactly the energy we love here at Conversation Point, so make sure you're subscribed.
All right, real debate. When mainstream culture picks up slang from these communities, is that just normal language evolution or something more complicated?
I think it's mostly just how language naturally works. Words spread, cultures influence each other, that's happened forever.
I get that instinct, but I think it's a little more complicated than pure natural evolution, Zach.
Curious?
How so? Because often the communities who created the language don't get credit, while brands and influencers who repeat it later get seen as trendy or cutting edge.
That's actually a fair point. There's a real difference between organic spread and profiting off something without acknowledgement.
Right. Using a word casually with friends feels different than a major company slapping "no cap" on an ad campaign for cool points.
Especially when that same company probably wouldn't platform the actual community the term came from.
Which is honestly the real tension here. Not the word spreading, but who benefits once they go mainstream.
I think I was being too simple calling it just how language works. There's clearly a credit and benefit gap worth acknowledging.
Look at that, you're coming around already.
I contain layers, remember? We covered this already.
I don't think using the words themselves is inherently wrong, to be clear. Language spreading is natural and honestly kind of beautiful.
Right. The issue isn't don't use slang from other cultures. It's more know where it came from and don't erase that origin.
A little awareness goes a long way, honestly. Doesn't require anyone to stop having fun with language.
Just requires slightly more homework than most people are used to doing before they type bussin' into a caption.
Very fair. Very true.
So maybe the real answer is natural evolution, yes, but awareness of origin still matters a lot.
Look at us again, landing on nuance instead of picking a clean side.
Genuinely becoming the entire format of this channel at this point.
So where do you land? Is slang spreading across cultures just natural evolution, or does credit and awareness actually matter here? We want your honest take in the comments.
Next up, we're getting into who actually sounds old right now, testing ourselves with some brand new terms, and honestly, I'm a little nervous about it.
All right, Zach, let's talk about the actual death rate of slang now, because it's genuinely brutal.
There's this whole rule now, apparently. If your grandma knows the word, it's already dead to the people who made it popular.
The grandma test, a legitimate cultural benchmark now.
Genuinely, once a term hits mainstream news articles or dad jokes, its cool lifespan is basically over.
Which explains why no cap apparently already feels dated to actual Gen Z users, even though plenty of us just learned it.
We're already behind on a word we haven't even fully adopted yet.
Story of our entire millennial existence, honestly.
Compare that to something like dude, which has survived from actual skate and surf culture decades ago and still works completely fine today.
That's wild longevity for one word, still functional after this many years.
Some old slang really does have staying power that current terms just don't seem built for anymore.
Curious, do you think that's because slang used to travel slower, so it had time to actually settle into the language properly?
Probably, yeah. When something takes years to spread by word of mouth, it has to genuinely earn its place to survive that long.
Versus now, a word can explode overnight without ever really being tested for staying power.
Fast rise, fast fall. That seems to be the actual pattern with a lot of current internet slang.
So basically, slang today lives fast and dies embarrassingly young.
A tragic, extremely online life cycle.
What's a slang word from your own life that you think has genuinely survived the longest? Drop it below. We want to see what's actually stood the test of time.
All right, round 2 of testing. This time it's brand new 2026 terms, not the stuff we already half know.
I'm genuinely nervous, but let's go.
What does aura mean as current slang specifically?
Isn't that just like someone's overall vibe or energy?
Close, actually. It's specifically about how much respect or coolness someone's actions earn or lose. People talk about gaining or losing aura points.
So it's basically a scorekeeping system for vibes now.
Genuinely, yes. Life apparently has a hidden point system now.
My turn then. What does cheugy mean?
I have heard this word and understood absolutely nothing about it.
It basically means something that's trying to be trendy but is actually outdated, like millennial coded but as an insult.
Ooh, so it's a word specifically designed to insult people like us.
Correct. You've officially been cheugy this entire episode.
I felt that personally, and I didn't even fully understand the word yet.
All right, one more for you. What does standing on business actually sound like in a real sentence?
He said he'd call and he's standing on business, meaning he actually followed through?
That's actually a correct usage. Genuinely well done.
See, I'm learning. Slowly, painfully, but learning.
Baby steps, Zach, baby steps.
Okay, my turn. Millennial slang round. What does adorbs mean?
Easy. That's just adorable, shortened.
Correct. What about amazeballs?
Oh no, I forgot that word existed. It means amazing, but somehow worse for saying it out loud.
A genuinely upsetting word to revisit in real time.
We really did say that unironically at some point in our lives.
We truly did, and there's no taking it back now.
To the audience, test yourselves along with us. Did you know aura points, cheugy, or amazeballs? Comment your score and let us know who actually kept up.
And if watching us stumble through this quiz is entertaining you, even a little bit, that's honestly the whole appeal of Conversation Point, so make sure you're subscribed if you're new here.
All right, real debate. Is millennial slang's staying power actually better, or is Gen Z's rapid churn the smarter approach?
I'll actually argue for the rapid churn here. Constantly refreshing slang keeps language feeling alive and current, instead of stale.
I get that, but doesn't that also mean nothing ever gets time to actually mean something? It's just noise replacing noise constantly.
That's fair. There's definitely a trade-off, speed versus depth, basically.
Right. Dude surviving decades means it actually became part of how people genuinely talk, not just a passing trend.
Whereas something like no cap might barely get remembered in 5 years, even though it felt massive right now.
Which suggests longevity might matter more than how big something feels in the moment.
I still think the churn serves a purpose, though. It lets each smaller group carve out language that feels specifically theirs, even briefly.
That's actually a good point. Slower slang belonged to a whole generation. Faster slang can belong to a much smaller, tighter community.
Right. A niche community gets to have something exclusively theirs for a moment, even if it doesn't last forever.
So maybe it's not really better or worse, just built for different purposes entirely.
Longevity for cultural staying power, speed for community identity and belonging.
Look at us, landing on nuance yet again, right on schedule.
Genuinely our whole personality by this point in the episode.
I will say, though, cheugy still stings a little. I'm not fully over that one yet.
You'll heal eventually, Maya. Slang wounds do fade with time, ironically.
So where do you land? Timeless slang that lasts decades, or fast, disposable slang built for the moment? Tell us which style you actually prefer using yourself.
All right, last stretch of this whole battle is coming up, where we're finally deciding who actually sounds older between the two of us, so stick around for the final verdict.
All right, Zach, before we get to the final verdict, let's actually ask something a little deeper. Is this generational slang gap a real communication barrier or just surface noise?
Honestly, I think it's mostly surface noise. Underneath the specific words, people are still expressing the same basic things.
Excitement, sarcasm, approval, disapproval, just with different labels attached each generation.
Right. Epic fail and whatever the current equivalent is are both just ways of saying that went badly, dressed differently.
I do think it becomes a real barrier sometimes, though, especially between parents and kids specifically.
How so?
Some slang actually carries serious meanings under the surface, terms referencing self-harm as a joke, or code words for things parents genuinely need to notice.
That's a fair point. In those cases, not understanding the language isn't just feeling old, it's actually missing something important.
Right. Most slang is genuinely harmless fun, but a small slice of it deserves real attention, not just eye-rolling confusion.
Which is honestly a good reason for parents to at least casually stay somewhat aware, even if they never actually use the words themselves.
You don't have to say standing on business unironically. Just know roughly what your kid means when they say it.
A reasonable middle ground. Understand it, don't necessarily attempt it.
Please don't attempt it, Zach, for both our sakes.
Duly noted. I'll stick to reluctantly understanding from a safe distance.
Has slang ever actually caused real confusion or a real gap between you and someone in a different generation? Not just a funny moment? We'd love to hear a real story, not just the silly ones.
All right, moment of truth, final verdict. Who actually sounds older between us?
Based purely on tonight's quiz performance, I think we both know the answer already.
I said totes unprompted and got called cheugy within the same episode. I'm aware.
You also thought glazing was about donuts.
An honest mistake that I stand by defending somehow.
To be fair, though, I fully forgot amazeballs was a real word we used to say unironically.
We're both guilty parties here, honestly, just in slightly different, equally embarrassing ways.
I think the real verdict is we're both millennials, and we both sound exactly like it.
Which, considering the whole video was called a battle, feels like a slightly disappointing tie.
Genuinely, neither of us walked away winning this one.
Though I will say you did guess 3 Gen Z terms correctly. That's got to count for something.
Proud. I'm taking that as a partial victory, honestly.
Fine, partial victory granted. You're slightly less old sounding than me today.
I'll take slightly less old. It's still a win in my book.
I think the bigger takeaway, honestly, is that trying to keep up with every single new term is kind of a losing game anyway.
Right. By the time you learn one, it's already cheugy, ironically enough.
The word itself proves its own point in real time.
Agreed. Maybe the actual goal isn't mastering every term, just staying curious enough to not be completely lost.
That feels like a genuinely healthy way to approach this whole slang thing, honestly.
So who do you think actually sounded older in this episode? Me or Zach? Be brutally honest. We can take it.
And if this whole slang battle made you laugh even once, that's exactly why we make these episodes at Conversation Point. So make sure you're subscribed before we wrap this whole thing up.
All right, let's actually close this whole battle out properly. We covered a lot today, Zach.
From aim away messages to 6-7, meaning apparently nothing at all, genuinely a wild range.
I still can't get over that one being a real, widely used phrase right now.
Some things just aren't meant to be fully understood, Maya. We have to accept that.
So here's my honest final takeaway. Slang says a lot less about who's cooler and a lot more about which era shaped how you talk.
I'd agree with that completely. Nobody actually wins this battle. We're all just products of our own internet timelines.
And whether it's totes, amazeballs, or 6-7, every generation eventually becomes the cheugy one to someone younger.
A humbling, universal truth we all have to accept eventually.
Honestly, doing this episode made me a little more forgiving of my own mom's old slang, too.
Oh yeah? Like what?
She still says groovy completely unironically sometimes.
That's genuinely older than anything either of us said tonight.
Which honestly puts our whole totes and amazeballs era into perspective a little.
Everyone's the old one to somebody eventually. It's just a matter of time.
A weirdly comforting thought, actually, now that I say it out loud.
I think I'm going to actually try using a couple of these Gen Z terms this week just to see how it goes.
Please, for the love of everything, do not say standing on business to your barista.
No promises, Maya. None at all.
So here's our final ask. Go test a friend or family member from a different generation using the words we covered today and tell us how badly it goes. We genuinely want the stories.
Thank you all so much for sticking with us through this entire slang battle. It got a lot more embarrassing for both of us going in.
Speak for yourself. I only embarrassed myself slightly.
Slightly. Sure, Maya. We'll go with that.
If this episode made you laugh or taught you a new word or made you feel personally attacked like Zach did, that's genuinely everything we wanted from it.
So make sure you're subscribed to Conversation Point because we've got plenty more fun, slightly chaotic topics coming.
And maybe brush up on your own slang before the next one, just in case we quiz you too.
We'll see you in the next one. Stay cool, stay cheugy, whatever era you're actually from.